How's it going? Dave from Comic Book Investments. So today is our market analysis, and today I'm going to do another, I hate to just throw the word around Holy Grail, but another, I guess, Grail of the Bronze Age key. And that, of course, is the Giant Size X-Men #1. And as you can see from the thumbnail, I have quite a few copies. Let's see, six copies of Giant Size X-Men #1. And if you notice in my past videos, I've talked about that I would get some in and I thought about maybe I should hold them back, kind of like I did the Hulk 181. And if you see my previous video on the Hulk 181, you'll see that I have like 15 or so copies. I've added some since then. So recently I decided to hold the X-Men one back, Giant Size X-Men #1. And that's because the price is just going up so much that it's not actually worth it to sell right now. And I think that is why, another reason why the price is going up so much is because other dealers are like, well, I can just hold this back and it will double in like, a couple months. It seems like it. So I think that is the reason why, because I've gone online to check to see how many Giant Size X-Men #1s, and there's really not that many. I'm talking about eBay, of course. And normally when I would look, say, a few years ago, there would always be a ton. And we had some, and they would sit, like not very long, but they would sit. Now, if I listed Giant Size X-Men #1, even if it was like record price for whatever grade it was in, gone instantly. And so to me, it's just like, well, it's better to hold them back. So I have a few graded, of course, and a few raw that I haven't sent to be graded. And it's just, like, for example, I have some here that like this X-Men Giant Size, I have a 7.0, I paid $3,000 for. And that thing's, not that long ago. And it's probably worth closer to like $4 or $5 now. And I probably bought that #7 probably maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I don't know. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. Not too long ago. Definitely under a year, probably around the 6 months, a little sooner than that. But it just shows like how fast it's going up. And another reason for that is that this is like the type of book that if an investor was getting into, they'd buy. So when people ask me and they know nothing about comics and they want to invest, Giant Size X-Men #1 is on that list of top 5 books to get. You got Fantasy 15, Hulk 181, Giant Size X-Men #1. And I told my brother to get a few, and I think he has a 9.4, a 9.0, and I want to say an 8.5. All of them have almost tripled since he bought them a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years. It's been a while since I can remember when. But yeah, so to me, it's just not worth selling. I remember I had an 8.0 that I kind of like forgot about. It was like, it was listed, but it didn't actually get listed for some reason. There's a problem with eBay. And so when we were looking through our stuff, we found it and I listed it. I remember I listed it for like $2,300 and it was an 8.0, I believe. And it sold instantly within a second. And at the time, that was like pretty much the record price. Now an 8.0, you're looking at 5, 6, 7 grand. I don't know. They're constantly going up so often that you literally have to check it every day and you'll have a new record broken. So to me, I decided to hold them back like I was holding back the Hulk 181s. So these are a few I've accumulated over the past couple months, and I'm not going to list. And when I will list it, a lot of people ask me that, is when I feel the market is stabilized. And what I mean is I don't care if it's slightly going up, if it's going up a little bit. I don't want it to be like just like, multiples, it's like in 2-3 months, it's doubled what it was before. It needs to slow down. And I feel like on certain books, like I said, past, like in my weekly haul about the Raphael #1, I feel like that's at that point now. Now you have books that are not like going crazy high. Some of them are actually going lower than the previous sales. And so I think it's like stabilizing. So that's why with the Raphael, I'm trying to move them out and not hold any back. I had a few that I held back. Now I'm getting rid of them because I feel like that's where it's going to, I'm not going to say that this, all of a sudden the Raphael or this Giant Size #1 is just going to drop in half. But there's going to be a point when it's like, instead of going straight up like this, it's going to, curve more like this, right at the stable point, maybe plateau, maybe go down a little bit. And that's kind of like when I want to let them go. Right when it's, it's more stable. It's not breaking records every 2 days. So that's when I'll sell. But so as an investment goes, this is a good book. Even if all of a sudden it flatlines and then even drops, in 10 years, this book is going to be even higher than before. And people that say, oh, it's already peaked, blah, blah, blah. Hulk 181, a 9.8, is probably going to pass 100 grand here pretty soon for a 9.8. And you went back 10, 20 years ago, people said you're insane. If you went back 40, 50 years ago, an Action Comics #1 would sell for $300 in mint condition. Now, you'd be lucky if you got the lowest grade possible, like a 2.0 for $1 million, right? So, and people think, well, okay, that's just comics. Look at all collectibles. Sports cards are way higher than they were before. Original art, millions upon millions. There was an NFT that sold for 69 million. And if you don't know what an NFT is, it's basically it's like a picture on your computer, but you own the rights, the digital rights to that picture. Like I have that picture on my phone, that's the $69 million, but I don't own the rights to it. So you're basically buying the rights to that digital picture or digital item. That's what an NFT is. It's kind of making waves now. So I think comics are here to stay. They have a track record of being around forever. So this is definitely a good book. The cool thing that makes this unique compared to other X-Men books is for the past 5 years before this book came out, in 1975, I believe, X-Men was not a very hot series. It wasn't doing very well, and they were doing reprints. And they stopped making original content in X-Men 66, so X-Men 67 through 93, it was all reprints, and I think they had Gil Kane come and just redo the covers, but reprint the material inside, because it wasn't selling very well, but well enough where they could do reprints of it, but they didn't want to pay people to make new stories, new art, all that kind of stuff. And then it wasn't until Len Wein and Dave Cochran came and did this, and it was a brand new X-Men story in 5 years. There hadn't been any new X-Men story. And they brought on Wolverine, who was kind of popular at the time. This is his second appearance, kind of ish. Like you can say Hulk 180 is his first, 181 is technically his second, and then 182 would be his third. However you want to see it. They're cameos, but they're appearances. So this is his second full appearance, and then his third appearance would be in X-Men 94, which Len Wein went and did, and he did about 2 issues or so, and then they brought on Chris Claremont to do it. Chris Claremont, I believe, came on issue 94, but he was just using scripts that Len Wein already did. And so he continued on, and it just grew huge. X-Men became one of the biggest and is still. So that's why this book is super popular. And the reason why Hulk 181 is popular is not because of Hulk, it's because Wolverine's in it. And Wolverine is part of the X-Men, which is Wolverine is massive. So, I mean, you're looking at like the top 2 Bronze Age books are because of Wolverine. So yeah. So this book is sky high right now, and let's dive more into the numbers and kind of see where it was and where it's going. All right. For Giant Size X-Men #1, 1975. All right, so let's say if you're looking at around, like my brother I talked to, I believe when I told him, I believe he paid around $3 grand for maybe his 9.4, somewhere around there. So if he paid somewhere, I think in 2019. Yeah, so he paid, I think 30 something, 34, 32 or something like that. So kind of like where it was. And just in that time, if you can look at this graph, look how much it's gone up. Like, see, this is like steady. Look how steady that is. Even through the recession, right? Steady, steady, steady growth, steady growth. Like looking at a few, 5, 10, 15, 20% a year. And that's kind of like my point of what, like, look how steady this is. Like what stock? No dips, no real dips. Like you have a few peaks and valleys, but overall it just slowly goes up over time. And now it's just going crazy. So where is the top? I don't know. You think it, like you can see a little arc there, but so yeah, if you bought this, around this time, you're paying $3,200 or so. Look what one just sold for. $10,000. $10,000. And that's Like if you went back earlier this year, they're selling for $4,000. Now they're into 10 grand territory. That's why I'm like holding them back. I don't know how much. And a way you can tell if it's starting to plateau or not is look at the most recent sales. Most recent sale, much higher than the average. Most recent sale, much higher than the average. Most recent sales, April, higher than the average. See how every single one is higher than and this is a 90-day average, right? Look at this one. The 90-day average for 9.6, it doubled. And it just keeps on going up, And so that's how you know they're still going up. Like if you looked at the Raphael number 1, right? And if you, did I spell that wrong? Okay, no. And if you watch my previous videos, you can see that I talked about that's why I'm beginning to let them put them out, because I think, okay, so look at this 90-day average, right? Okay, this one's higher, 9.6. This was in March, but look at April, lower than the 98 average. Look at the 9.2. It was in March, but still lower than the 90-day average. April, a little higher. This one, a little lower. This one, a little higher. This one, the same. This one, a little lower. This one, a little lower. So as you can see, it's kind of shifting, right? It's still going up overall, the average, but I feel like it's starting to plateau. I feel like it's balancing out. Now, the problem when stuff like this balances out, hold on. She wants ups. All right, the problem when this stuff balances out is that it could tend to go lower because people panic. So they list, hey, this is not your time. Down you go. Sorry. It could, people get scared, and so they start trying to get rid of them quick, and what happens is they flood the market, which then drives down the price even lower, and then there's a massive drop. I don't think that's going to happen with the turtles, because unlike most comic books, there's a finite amount printing. Raphael had 60,000 printed, so there's only so many out there. So I'm not worried of too much of a drop. So yeah, back to the X-Men. If you just look at how high they're going, just look at this. Almost doubled. Everything, just almost doubling. So that's why I am holding them back until it kind of works out to where the Raphael is, where you start seeing some kind of, it's going a little less than normal. It's not doubling every month. So if we look here at this little chart I made, giant size X-Men number 1, hope everyone can see. You can look at the return. Here's a 4.0, for example. You got a 20% return from 2005 to 2010. Not that great. I'm not going to say it's great. But from 2010 to 2015, you got 150% return. That's pretty good. For 5 years, that's very good. Going to beat the S&P 500 all the time. Then it's got a 40% return from here. So yeah, as you can see, it's slowly goes up. But then for the most recent sale, from 2018, the most recent sale, which is a record price, 500%. Overall, you're looking at a 2,400% return in, 16 years? And then if you go to the 8.0, it's a little better. And then you got a 9.4, and, still, obviously 4.0s are more desirable because more people can afford them. That's why you get a higher percent return, but they're all pretty close. All really close. I mean, this one is wrong because I have to make this, that. Maybe that will work. There we go. Now. Okay. Oops, I just do this. There we go. 1,200% return. So yeah, if you would have bought a book back in 2005 and sold it now, you'd make $15,000 off your $1,300. It's crazy. But look, it's like slowly went up 5 years, slowly go up. And that's what people were used to. That's what I was used to. I remember I would buy giant size X-Men for $150. That's about what I would pay for like a raw copy. And if it was a higher grade, I'd pay a little more. So if you're looking like 2010 and stuff, look, I was right around in the right range. and then it would slowly go up. And I remember moving it up to $300. That's about what I'd pay for a lower grade copy. But now it's like, yeah, you can get a 4.0 for 3,000, when literally a few years ago it was like 500. And if we look, like I said before, on eBay, CGC copies. There's a decent amount, but they all want so high of prices, so high, that you're never, unless you want one, you pretty much have to pay, look, almost 100 grand for a 9.8. You have to pay top dollar, but there's not too many. Okay, these aren't, I'm on a page of 50 and most of these, so under 50. There's a few that aren't actually giant size X-Men here, like these. So around 50. But yeah, you're just going to have to pay through the nose to get them. You know. But yeah, so that's kind of like my analysis of giant size X-Men number 1. I'm not selling them right now, which then drives up the price, and I think most dealers aren't. A few probably are because they're cashing in, but I've talked to other dealers that hold books back as well. I generally don't hold that many books back. It's just when they go up double in a couple months, it's like I can't but hold them back. Yeah, I have, like I said, I held back Hulk 1A1s for a long, long time. I looked at one recently. It's probably like a 3 to 4.0. I bought it for $300. So, I mean, some of these books are pretty cheap too. I've got them recently. So yeah, I hope you like this kind of stuff. If you can do me a favor and subscribe, like, comment, share, all that kind of stuff, that would really help me out. All right, thanks.